Hey, welcome back and welcome to the new review. Next gonna be It Takes Two. In It Takes Two you find the kind of common red toolbox that might be sitting in your garage or your parents' garage. It's one of the best boss battles I ever played. In the level leading up to this, co-op protagonist Cody and May learn to chuck nails and wield a hammerhead, respectively. Cody can shot nails into wooden surfaces. May can use the hammer to swing on those nails. Cody can nail moving platforms in its place. May can hop onto those platforms or wall jump between vertical surfaces that Cody can position with a strategic nail shot. Eventually, he gets 3 nails to throw instead of 1, leading to some extremely frantic platforming. The boss fight that closed this level uses those abilities in concert. Cody and May stand on the polywood platform facing off against the toolbox. It can swing at them with bottle on plywood arms, which the duo needs to dodge. To deal any damage, Cody has to pin its long wooden limb to a wall with his 3 nails, allowing May to swing over to smack its tiny body. As the fight proceeds, the toolbox shots nails into the air, which hurtle down and at the polywood platform. A platform which gradually shrinks as toolbox uses a handsaw to whittle it down to a noob with strategic cuts. The whole arc is a virtuosic showcase of what this game does so well. Like developer Hazellight's previous game A Way Out, It Takes Two can only be played in co-op, online or local, and success requires teamwork. This level introduced a new tool for each character to use, throws out a wide variety of tasks for you to accomplish with those tools, and then puts it all together in a windily creative boss battle that forces you to go and work together to succeed. It's strongly good, and the rest of the game maintains a consistently high bar of quality. It Takes Two is the most creative 3D platformer I've played in years, but it builds on well-thought family comedy territory, with a story that marries elements of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and The Parent Trap. May and Cody are a 30-something couple who just seem to find the time to spend with each other. When they are together, they can't stop fighting. As the game begins, they sit their preteen daughter Rose down at the kitchen table to tell her that they are getting a divorce. Rose is understandably upset. She goes to her room, where she pulls out a pair of dolls, one made of clay, which looks like a Cody, and one caved from wood, which resembles May. She cries, and when the tears land on the dolls, the ill-defined kid of magic that animates movies like Freaky Friday and 17 Again springs into the action, transforming the flesh and blood May and Cody into their doll doppelgangers. Their quest to return to their bodies takes them on a journey of personal growth, a story that mostly succeeds. That story is carried by Cody and May, who has a believable relationship despite the cartoonish premise. The dialogue is often corny, but the voice performances from the 2 leads is impressively casual. This is some of the most natural sounding small talk I've ever heard in a game. Their rapport helps sell the concept that is a couple that loved each other deeply but just haven't made time to prioritize each other. There's warmth here, even where they're bickering. There is central navy to the idea that forcing a couple to spend time together will make them like each other, but it worked for me here because the problem is May and Cody relationship seems to stem primarily for a lack of time and attention. I never got the sense that they were fundamentally incompatible as a couple, just they had forgotten what they fell in love. The game's biggest problem, meanwhile, is Dr. Hakim, an anthropomorphic relationship advice book guiding the pair to reconciliation. He shows up about once a level to hit at where Cody and May should head next. Hakim heavily plays into the Latin lover trope in a way that is loud, stereotypical, and a little offensive. He's got a thick accent, and each time he appears, he is accomplished by the sound of strummed guitar and clocking castanets. He's pretty obnoxious. My wife, who I played the game with for this review, and I talked to saying, "Oh, this terrible fellow again." Each time he show up out split screens. We made it through this section on the first try, and when I noticed that the noise matter has disappeared, I assumed that this brief once-off stealth section had come to a close. But then we moved into a second shady area, this one populated by a few dozen moles and substantially fewer rocks to help traverse the mulk. In the garden section, Cody has temporarily been granted the ability to turn into a plant. At certain key moments, and the ability comes into play here. I'm morphed into a mouse, moving in time with May's movements, providing a rolling carpet of greenery to muffle her footsteps as we snuck past the moles. Eventually, we made it to the other side and the coast seemed clear, but then we heard the sound of the stamping mode in the distance, and then the split-screen camera in front of us forming a Crash Bandicoot-style run at the camera chase scene. As the chase scratched on, the camera shifted perspectives multiple times, introducing new challenges each time. We escaped down a pit and found another mole who started by own appearance, fell its own back, blocking our path downward. So we ground pounded the poor creature belly until it fell out of the bottom, and we scrambled through one last bit of side-scrolling. At the end we found a pair of rocks, saddled up, and hope on the next challenge.
Where the narrative falters, the game part of It Takes Two is a genuine blast. It's pure, undertailored fun that focuses on variety as much as anything else. So much that Hazellight took the care to craft entire game mechanics for throwaway moments that last 60 seconds. Through its luxury and action platformer, It Takes Two has no isometric dungeon crawlers like Diablo, brawlers like Street Fighter, and rhythm games like Dance Dance Revolution. It Takes Two winds up being a clown car of video game home gaze that is insanely fun to play through the often tedious dot connects made between the several unique mechanics, and the plot don't often serve to drive the story forward. It's a problem It Takes Two suffers from nearer to the end of its 10-hour journey as the strangest links to Cody and May's life. His green thumb and his passion for singing seemed far less inspired. Exactly like A Way of Out did before it, It Takes Two has a lot of extreme well-hidden mini-games for players to strain the friendship way. From a simple tug of war to an actual working game of chess, there is certainly a lot of laughs to be had in revealing in each other many features. Perhaps It's a Way Out failed for giving me a preconception of what they expect from a Joseph Fares title, but It Takes Two doesn't nail it when it comes to pacing. It felt as to the game more memorable moments were flash in the pan, with later areas tended to drag due to a constant stream of roadblocks being thrown at the players, often perpetrated by the blaster Dr. Hakim, the anthropomorphic guide to love that serves as the very uncomfortable quasi-consequel. With the exception of the human characters, who were fortunately don't send a great idea and a deal of time with It Takes Two is beautiful game. The game many words which felt both grounded and fantastically conceptual at all once are so well realized and established with the pair's home and history. I particularly love the game first level, which takes place in the shed, which is under threat from an oppressive, neglected toolbox. There are many highlights too. I also enjoyed the level that took place inside the inner workings of a cuckoo clock, which serves a hamster feel but heartfelt nod to the lack of time Cody and May spared for each other during their marriage. Although it's not consistent across the board, I got a real Banjo-Kazooie vibe from the many words It Takes Two, with each own self-contained story within a story. Similar to OCB and Grounded, It Takes Two does a nice job of playing with scale, having our heroes explore a pretty common home and have it be this overwhelming massive obstacles was so clever, and I particularly enjoyed how often we come across regular household items as bosses. Running into a discarded vacuum hearts and being replaced by never a model made a pretty hilarious interaction, which is something It Takes Two does very well. For our minuscule man and wife, it's big journey with a big heart that suffers from a disappointing ending as well as bloody run time.
It's impressive stuff. It Takes Two is the best 3D platformer I've ever played since Mario Odyssey, and like that game, it has a flair for variety. You may ride a frog or a fly, a plane with the wings made from Cody Boxster hack, and slash through a Diablo-style castle. Despite the downright wild amount of things to do, It Takes Two managed to handle every mechanic well. This is the second release from the Hazellight, Fantastic boss fights iterate on each area's mechanics in clever and surprising ways. Strong performances from the lead actors help overcome some corny dialogue and make the characters impressively believable. The bad. Dr. Hakim is an incredibly obnoxious take on the Latin lower trope. That's all. Thank you for watching. Please comment and subscribe. Peace.